One of the reasons that action is so powerful is that service for others, whether it is just selfishness for ourselves, either of those paths heat us up. We back. In an episode recently I talked about, maybe a month or two ago, I talked about how 97% of this philosophy could be summed up with three words: action, action, action. The last 3%, even the more abstract side of this philosophy, could also be summed up in three words: that thou art. The timeless Mahavakya, Tattvam Asi in Sanskrit. That is about as abstract as this philosophy can get, and it is the deepest reflection. But for many of us that might not find as much value in the esoteric or the abstract and need the more practical side of this philosophy is 97% of it is just practical. For living life well. That's why it's often called the manual for living. It is so damn practical and helpful in our daily lives. Whether it is relationships, career goals, personal goals, it's just, I've never found anything quite like it to slice and dice, simplify, and provide actionable insights to getting anything that you want. So many of the episodes are around these actionable, practical sides, the practical philosophy, as it's often called, because it's, as opposed to most philosophy that is kind of academic, maybe irrelevant in our daily lives, this philosophy is the opposite. It is so damn relevant, practical, helpful in our daily lives. And within this 97% of the philosophy, you could sum it up with three words: action, action, action. And why do I say action, action, action? It's because this philosophy is all about go into action. Not the misinterpretation of like go away from the world, exit society, sit quietly on a cushion, go to a cave somewhere. That is not what this philosophy says to do. This philosophy says go into it. One of the canonical texts of this philosophy is the Bhagavad Gita, where it is just a 30-minute dialogue of an advisor, a charioteer, telling this warrior prince, you got to go into this battle. You were designed for this battle. And there's no greater gift for a righteous warrior than a righteous war. And whether there's a literal battle in front of you or not, we all, and this is the symbolism of the Gita, we all have the battle within us to do what we ought to do. To go into what looks like uncertainty, discomfort, a battle between the mind and the intellect, the higher self, lower self, unselfishness versus selfishness. That is a battle within our hearts that all of us wage, not just each day, but multiple times a day of, okay, I got to go into this, got to go into this. And the theme over and over and over again with each one of these battles, big and small, is go into action. Do not recoil from action. That's the whole first chapter of the Gita, is Arjuna the warrior prince, trying to justify, wow, man, yeah, I know we've been planning for this battle for 13 years, and this is the pinnacle of this huge civil war, but we look a little overmanned, and maybe we should just go head to the forest and sit quietly and study philosophy, which is, it's called the spiritual bypass, where people justify getting out of action with some spiritual reason so often that we have the name for it, spiritual bypass. But one of the reasons that action is so powerful is that whether it's service for others, or whether it is just selfishness for ourselves, either of those paths heat us up by doing action. You go from mental masturbation of these concepts of just in our heads thinking like, man, I'm reading this text and reveling in these thoughts and it's so beautiful and I'm on this comfortable cushion where I don't have to apply any of it and I can just revel in how great I am because I spend time with this or that book, this or that principle. Action shows us where our work lies. That's a famous adage from Ram Dass, that action shows us where our work still lies, where we still have work to do. To be a philosopher is not to recite philosophy. It is to know when, how, and what to do at all times, and all three of those. That is philosophy. Knowing what to do, how to do it, when to do it. We only get there through action. Get there through trial and error, through doing it wrong, through seeing, whoa, I thought I had this under control. I thought I was really a spiritually developed individual. And then you have a 2-year-old that won't stop crying. So many of our annoyances in life, they are showing us where we have so much work to do. A mirror showing us ourselves, showing us accurately who we really are versus the idea we might have in our head in the still hours of the morning, sitting with a cup of coffee and a 2,000-year-old piece of scripture, thinking, man, I'm so developed. I am so evolved. We need that. We need that reflection. You need the moments in the gym. But the moments in the gym are for you to use that on the field. The moments in the gym are for you to use that strength in your community. It's not just to be strong in a gym setting. It's to be strong. It's to be useful to yourself and to your community. That is the point. If you play on an NFL team, you're hitting the gym so that you can apply it on Sunday on the field. They don't pay you too much just to be a gym rat. And that time on the field shows you where you still have work to do in the gym. So you need both that reflection and that action. But to think reflection is the end-all be-all, to think study, to think reciting and memorizing concepts, to think that those are the destination, the end-all be-all, that is a mistake. That is the mistake that this philosophy tries to balance out, to correct, by saying, when in doubt, choose action. And through action, we see what work we still have left to do. That is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.